From the Meyer Public Broadcast Center on the campus of Grand Valley State University, welcome to Decision 2006, the Michigan Senatorial Debate.
Thank you for joining us for this Decision 2006 special. I'm Fred Martino. We begin our debate with opening statements decided by a coin toss earlier, and we start with Senator Debbie Stabenow. Senator?
Good evening, and I want to thank Grand Valley State University and Public Television, our panelists, and my opponent, and particularly you, for joining us. There's a clear choice in this Senate race. My opponent supports the failed policies of the Bush administration. They have cost us jobs and threatened our way of life. I support a new direction, one that keeps our jobs here and protects our middle class. You're also going to hear probably a lot of misinformation and Washington speak about Washington special interest groups from my opponent this evening. But I'm here to talk to you about the results that I've gotten for you and your family and the critical fight ahead to protect our Michigan way of life. Thank you.
Sheriff Bouchard.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you. You know, as a lifelong Michigander, I know our families deserve the best. But while our state has lost over 280,000 jobs, our current senator, frankly, just hasn't been doing hers. We're in a single state recession. Our borders are not secure, and spending in Washington is out of control. And what has my opponent done in the meantime? She's labeled the biggest spender in the Senate. It's got to stop. She voted for a border fence, but then voted against funding it. She wanted to give Social Security to illegal immigrants, and now she's playing Washington politics with Canadian trash. That's not results. That's not what we need. As a father, I'll work to make sure my kids and your kids have their opportunity to be here to find jobs. As a 20-year lawman, I will remain focused on keeping our community safe and secure. As a leader in the state Senate, I not only cut taxes, balanced budgets, but increased our investment in education. We need results. As a small businessman, I created jobs. I have a proven record. I get results. And if I come back after 6 years and only have renamed a federal building like my opponent, you should fire me.
Thank you, Sheriff, and I am joined in the questions for our debate by Rachel Ruiz of Wood TV in Grand Rapids, Dave Alexander of the Muskegon Chronicle, and Peter Ross of WCZM TV in Grand Rapids. Our first question is for Sheriff Bouchard. Sheriff, do you support the concept of a preemptive war without firm confirmation of an imminent threat to the United States? Yes or no? And then please explain your answer.
Well, I absolutely believe we need to take care of any imminent threat. So if we do in fact have intelligence, actionable, reliable intelligence that tells us we're about to be attacked, absolutely, we need to protect America. But that's another clear difference that I have from my opponent. She voted time and time again to cut the intelligence budget. As you look at the issues playing out now in Korea, we have a rogue nation that's actually shooting missiles that are landing in the sea, testing their capability, and meanwhile, she voted against missile defense. We need someone that understands the threat, will stand up to the plate, get the resources, the intelligence, and the necessary resources to go forward to address that threat, and won't back down. I've been in law enforcement 20 years. I understand protecting communities. That's the most important job of any government, is to make sure you and your family are safe. Time and time again, she's voted against those processes that would allow us to do it, and done that Washington thing.
Senator.
Well, let me start by making one thing very clear. I've supported every defense budget and clearly have supported everything we need to do to keep our families safe at home and abroad. My opponent didn't answer the question. Of course, it was about Iraq. Let me say this. After 9/11, I voted to go into Afghanistan because that's where the people were that attacked us. And by the way, they have yet to be found and brought to justice, which I think is outrageous. I didn't vote to go into Iraq because clearly the evidence was not there. It was a war of choice, not of necessity. But I've supported every single effort to support our troops. I've gone to Iraq. I've seen up close what they have done. And they are brave soldiers that deserve more than a slogan. They deserve a strategy to make sure we are successful there. And I have supported every military piece of equipment that they need But they need a strategy that is successful so that we can bring them home safe.
Our next question is for Senator Stabenow from Rachel Ruiz. Rachel?
Senator Stabenow, in recent years, Michigan has lost tens of thousands of jobs, many of them in the automotive industry. What is it going to take to get the big three automakers going again, and how can the federal government help?
Rachel, thank you. I think that's one of the most critical questions for us. First of all, we need a 21st century manufacturing strategy, and we need a president that's going to decide to sit down with the automakers, who are the biggest employers in the world. Our auto workers have created the middle class of this country, and yet this president has come in, done fundraising for my opponent, and couldn't come up with 30 minutes to sit down with the automakers. The strategy we need is one that creates a level playing field on trade, because we can compete with anybody. We've got to get health care costs off of the back of business, and at the same time indicate health care is a right, not a privilege in America. We've got to protect our pensions, and then we've got to race like crazy on education and innovation. You know, we have been the home of high-tech manufacturing. We make things and grow things in Michigan, and that's what it's going to take to keep a strong economy in America. But it has to start by saying we're going to fight for every American job, every American business, to keep those jobs here.
Sheriff?
Well, I think I have to start by saying there she goes again. She says one thing here and does another thing in Washington. In Washington, our United States Senator has an 18% voting record based on NAM, National Association of Manufacturers. That's the companies that make things across not only Michigan but America. She's got an 18%. If your child came home with an 18% on a test, you'd be pretty darn upset. That's a failing grade. That's what she has. I won't just talk about jobs back here in Michigan. I'll get results. I did that. I'm a small business owner. I understand the problem. I won't constantly vote to increase taxes like she has, constantly vote to increase spending, vote against the reforms that are necessary to help manufacturing. Affordable, available, and accessible energy is a critical component on that particular issue. She's filibustered that for years running. That drives up the cost at the back of our manufacturing facilities and makes us less competitive internationally. We need somebody that gets it and will get results. More importantly, less talk and more results.
Our next question is for Sheriff Bouchard from Dave Alexander. Dave?
Sheriff, what's the balance between civil rights and homeland security, and how do you think we are doing on balancing those